with indie artists, and I mean, most of what I see, I'm almost producing in the mix. So hey, what is your vision? What do you want it to sound like? Actually, let me share, because in talking with the client, they wanted that radio rock, big, full sound. They wanted it to hit hard. And they gave me their mix, which is why they hired me, was for me to make it sound like that, instead of what they had here was this. That fill right there, dun, 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 that's Goo Goo Dolls all day. I hear Iris. I don't know you guys, any Goo Goo Dolls fans in the house, but every time I hear this song, I'm thinking back to City of Angels and watching a romantic movie with my wife. So that was the demo, and they wanted to go bigger. And so that communication was there, that vision was there, and to get that sound, why not use samples? Now, if they were going for 90s Goo Goo Dolls, then I wouldn't touch a sample. It would sound similar to what they've already done here. And that would be communication with the client. Not always am I, hey, double checking the references and all that. I get lazy sometimes, and maybe a client will hit me back and say, I think it's happened a couple times where they've said, no drum samples. And so no big deal. I duplicate the real sample and use reverb and different things like that to imitate the sound that they want and kind of get to the vision. But it's very rare. I had one main time that I can think of, and it was the year I launched the Mix Academy. The very first song we ever used, Sobre Mi Pai, I think was a song from Abner Cepeda. His producer wanted no drum samples. So I said, hey, would you please send me a kick isolated from your kit? He was very proud of the drum kit and the time they took to record the kit. I said, hey, will you please send me some one-shots of that kit? What if I use those so that I can isolate the kick, the snare? Toms is not that big of a deal usually. We can do the tom trick or Slate's gate. You got a high-cut, low-pass filter thing going on there, so you can do some cool stuff to isolate toms pretty well. But and that was fine. He was like, oh yeah, that would be a great idea, man. And so from every project then on with him, he sent me his own drum samples, and then I blended those in and processed them and did our thing. But yeah, very rarely is it an issue nowadays.
Something to learn here from. So as a recording engineer, what I always do at the end of the session, I ask for another 5 to 10 minutes from the drummer, so we could get individual hits of everything. So we'll get a bunch of kicks, snares, and I'll have them play different velocities sometimes. I'll even get the hi-hat, like give me an open and a close, cymbals, etc., just because of this same scenario that Dave's talking about. We want the isolation.
See, I used to do it at the beginning of the session, right after we got them tuned, so that the first thing we had was the kind of soft, medium, hard.
And they're still tuned, exactly.
They're tuned, and then we'd set those out to the side and then get to work tracking. But what are those lug locks? Work really well for the snare. Use those at church a lot to make sure that snare stays in tune. But